Yeah, sure.
Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome to today's webinar on SAFE. Mr. Amit Kaulkekar will be taking care from here onwards. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So before we begin, any specific question, any specific area that you want me to kind of address during this webinar?
Sir, the role of Scrum Master and also
Uh-huh.
the role of project manager, what is the difference between them? First one. Second one, many of the companies have been trying to convert us, as I'm a BA right now. Okay, they've been trying to convert us. You should work as a Scrum Master and also the project manager,
Correct.
including BA.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a confusion that where I can able to contact with the stakeholders by stating that this is the scenario in this particular company. How can you able to work it out that? Just an example, sir. Like I don't want to like you be able to go in brief and depth and everything. Just a brief example where because everyone are quick learners. Simple like that, sir.
Correct. So, even before I get into this PowerPoint and walk you through some of the slides that we have put together, if you are currently playing a role of a business analyst, then the best role for you to take up in the new organizational structure would be the product owner rather than scrum master. And you can always talk to your company and those who are implementing this change, and show them the mapping that my profile matches a lot more with the product owner role, and we can go there kind of. With me?
Yeah, sir. You can able to continue. Sorry for this, sir.
Yeah. No, no worries. And what was your first question you said?
Sir, the thing is, many people have been trying to convey us. You should work as a Scrum Master. You should work as a PA, and you should work as a product owner. Because of lack of this pandemic issue, we have been facing like lot, like we can't able to educate the organization people. They don't think like see, if you want to get hired, you have to do work, all these people. But if I'm going to work as Scrum Master, okay, with maintaining all this agile methodology, these people have been thinking that we have to maintain all this stuff. There was a confusion, but you will clear it out.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So, welcoming you all to this webinar. Uh, in this webinar, we would be talking about a few points which are there in front of you, like why SAFe, brief overview of Scaled Agile framework, traditional versus agile mindset, and how SAFe handles traditional project management processes. That's what we would be going through. And then probably 15-20 minutes we'll have for question answers, and then we will close. Brief introduction about myself. I have around 20 years of industry experience. I have played various roles in various organizations. Could you please go on mute, others?
Can host mute all the members
I
except the
can do that.
speaker?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. So I have around 20 years of industry experience. I have played various roles like project manager, quality manager, release manager, and I've also worked as a consultant. My agile journey started around 2008 2009, and I started my SAFe journey in 2014 2015 when I did my SAFe Agilist class for the first time. And I've been SPC SAFe program consultant for last almost 3 years. And you know I'm going to talk about all these points that are there in front of you right now. uh, so moving to the next slide. Why SAFe? And you know Scaled Agile framework has got a very good response to that question. If you want to say goodbye to all these points, call outs which are there, like if you want to say goodbye to poor quality, or if you want to say goodbye to dissatisfied customers or too many dependencies, too much complexity, then definitely SAFe is an answer for you. I mean, you can. I mean, this is definitely going to help you out. By the time I could go through, more details, I've already got a question. So we will take that up at the end. But keep posting your questions, and Naveen can read it out at the end, and we will start answering those questions. So no worries. Brief overview of SAFe. SAFe started, in 2011. At that time, we had version 1.0 of Scaled Agile framework. They had piloted it at almost 2 or 3 organizations, and eventually version 1.0 was rolled out. It has gone through a lot of changes since then, and the current version of SAFe that we have right now is 5.0. It is completely focused on lean, agile, and DevOps practices. So the framework gives you the best practices and principles from these areas like lean, agile, and DevOps, and how you can use those best practices to improve your performance. So as it's mentioned on the slide, like SAFe overview provides a simplified view of the framework's 7 core competencies of the lean enterprise, and there are 21 subdimensions that enable business agility. So with the introduction of 5.0, SAFe 5.0, the goal is now achieving business agility. How you can deliver large solutions to your customers, that too at a faster pace and with predictability. That's what SAFe talks about with the current version. The customer is prominently featured at the center as the focal point for all the competencies. So what SAFe talks about is that as the organization grows, we create hierarchies, we create different functions, and those different functions and different hierarchies actually eventually the customer starts getting ignored in such environment, or the gap between customer and those who are creating the solution widens considerably. If at all we have a dual operating system, then we can narrow that gap. Again, customer can be at the center of your product development, and you can start delivering value faster to the customer. So SAFe start, I mean, with the introduction of 5.0 version, SAFe has started talking about dual operating system, and that dual operating system is supported by 7 core competencies. So these are the 7 core competencies that we talk about in the class, where we start with lean agile leadership, which talks about that lean and agile mindset and how you can lead by example and lead the change. And then team and technical agility focuses on built-in quality or agile product delivery, enterprise solution delivery, and how to align strategy, funding, and execution. So lean portfolio management talks about that. Organizational agility and continuous learning culture. Now the concept of continuous learning was in existence. I mean, it's in there since 1990s. Peter Senge in his book Fifth Discipline first talked about continuous learning or learning organizations, and in between many people stopped talking about it, but now with SAFe 5.0, this concept is getting reintroduced: continuous learning culture and learning organizations. As you can see under that competency, learning organization is the first bullet point or first dimension of continuous learning culture. So these are the seven. Yeah.
Hello. Sir, can we able to use this SAFe in waterfall projects also? Is this applicable or not? Kindly explain that.
No, you cannot.
If not, means say no. Praveen, this is not myself is Praveen. Okay, say Praveen, no, we can't able to use it. So why? Because we have been handling waterfall projects right now. Because we will take up some of the waterfall projects, we have to make sure that delivery to be happen. So apart from agile methodology, some companies have been using waterfall, and also ask us to help for SAFe also.
Correct.
Henceforth, sir. Sorry for disturbing, sir.
Yeah, no worries. I know we can use, or we can apply some principles of SAFe and the waterfall way of working. But to get most of the benefits of SAFe, you will have to transition to SAFe eventually, fully.
Okay, sir.
The most important part, Praveen, would be that in waterfall way of working, you are funding the projects, right? And what SAFe talks about is value streams. So that's the major difference between the two. So a project has got a definite start and end, and you know that it's going to produce this outcome. Whereas what SAFe talks about is continuous flow of value. And to switch from that start, stop, start mindset, wherein we start the project, then project gets over, we release the resources, move them to another project, then we start with the second project, and then again that project is completed and resources move to another project. With that start, stop, start mentality is what we experience in waterfall. What SAFe talks about is continuous flow of value, means the resources are not moving. Long-lived team of agile teams is what they talk about. So all these resources are part of a value stream, which is nothing but a series of steps that an organization uses to deliver value in the form of solution to the end customer. And that solution could be anything. It could be product, it could be service, or it could be a system. So whoever is building that product, service, or system, they are part of that value stream, and they are not released from that value stream. So this is one major difference between waterfall versus SAFe. And though, as I said, like, though you can initially you can use some of the practices from SAFe and apply it to waterfall, eventually to see or to get most of the benefits of SAFe, you will have to transition to SAFe. Does that give you a good idea about like how it would be, how it would happen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving ahead, here we have tried to put in the difference between traditional versus agile mindset. Most of us are quite familiar with what is an agile mindset, and we are introduced to it through different trainings, or if at all there is some initiative going on in our organization. To quickly go through it, what we talk about is like with waterfall mindset, we have Gantt charts, a launch date, and we don't iterate in the waterfall minds or under waterfall way of working. Task is fixed, time is variable, right first time, uh, then failure avoidance, stages and gates, like critical path analysis, spacing, imposing impediments, all that's part of, and what we have learned in PMP, all that's part of that waterfall mindset. Whereas when we look at agile mindset side, uh, we are allowed to experiment. That's the most important part. So we focus on iterative and incremental delivery. We we focus on shorter learning cycles. Whenever we deliver something, how quickly we can deliver that value to the customer, and what is it that we can learn from that delivery. So that's where our focus is. So if you read that bullet point which says fail fast, small deliveries, and as early as possible, that's the agile mindset. You are allowed to experiment, and if at all your experiment goes wrong, then you can still do a course correct, because the gap between two learnings is pretty small. We are not waiting for the whole project to get completed. Whatever small chunk of value that you have delivered to the customer, and whatever is learning from that, you kind of take it and move forward. So that's the major shift, because the deliveries under agile are iterative and incremental. Moving to the next one, from traditional project manager to servant leader, that's nothing but a scrum master, or a release engineer, or a SAFe program consultant. Different roles that we have in SAFe. Moving away from individual contributions, or directing, talking about deadlines and technical options, or fixing problems rather than helping others to fix them. We move towards coaching the whole team to collaborate, being facilitator. So our role also changes, like rather than a director, we become facilitator, then asking the team for the answer rather than giving them the answer, or letting the team find their own way. So that's a mindset change that we experience when we move from traditional project manager to a servant leader. Now it relates back to the first question that was asked to me, that in the current scenario, many of us are being asked to play the role of Scrum Master. But if you play the role of Scrum Master with a mindset of project manager, then you are not going to be very successful. I would say you would be successful, but not very successful. That mindset change is very, very important, and that's why SAFe focuses a lot. I mean, they dedicate a lot of time in talking about that mindset. What is a fixed mindset and what is a growth mindset? What kind of culture you would like to create in your organization? How you can create that culture? How you can exemplify certain behaviors in your organization, and how you can lead that change. So SAFe not only makes you aware about all these things, but it helps you understand and even kind of practice it. So that's the major change that happens when you go through.
Amit, I have one question here. This is Karthik. So in Agile, we say Scrum Master acts as a servant leader, right?
Correct.
And how that is different in SAFe?
It's not different. In SAFe also, he would act as a servant leader.
Okay, but we
Scrum
will
Master
not
is
be
going to be a
calling him
servant
as a
leader.
Scrum Master.
We call him as a Scrum Master.
Okay.
So the roles that we have at the team level in SAFe are like Scrum Master, Product Owner, and the team. Premanand, could you please, your voice is breaking, so I would request you to type your question if there is anything.
Sir, myself is Praveen. Hello.
Yeah, Praveen, I'm able to hear you.
Praveen, sir. Super. The thing is, sir, see, let me just me give.
Don't call me sir, you can just call me Amit.
Amit, okay, super. Amit, I'll just give an example for you. Okay, the thing is, we have been taking a new project. Okay, it's an e-commerce project. Okay, it lies in a waterfall. Okay, if I'm going to create the scenario, so you can able to explain me how the SAFe can able to handle the thing.
Is it okay if I take it after like 10 minutes?
You super done.
Okay. Let me quickly walk you through some slides and show you some of the differences, like how we do
Thank you,
certain
sir.
things
Thank you,
in
thank
SAFe,
you.
and then we
You
can
can
take it.
able. You can able.
Yeah?
You can
Hey,
able.
Amit Rajiv
Yeah.
here. Amit,
Yeah,
actually, hi, Amit. Actually, the thing is that we come to know that just like Agile isn't just like a mindset or that kind of thing, and but the Scrum is a framework, right? But the SAFe is coming to the picture. Can you please help us to know?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Thanks for asking that question, Rajiv.
Yeah.
Actually, we should have put it in the beginning only. So Scrum is for a team. What Scrum tells you is that you need to have a team of like 7 to 9 people, or whatever, 3 to 9, 5 to 11, whatever that number is.
No, madam. Hello, Amit. I'm writing it down. So why? Because I'm absent a lot. Okay. Some person have a deficiency. I have a deficiency. I'm absent, madam. I have to write it down. Please do it, but so little bit slow. I will just write it down.
What is it that you're writing down?
Scrum Master, this one is to be done now, something else. What you've been trying to explain to me, I'm writing it down.
Hi
Okay.
Praveen, this is Naveen from Star Agile. We're going to share you the recording soon, so I think you can review it later also.
Thank you.
Okay. So going back to the question, so Scrum is at a team level. SAFe is a framework which helps you scale agility across multiple teams. When you can scale agility, which might be implementation of Scrum or Kanban. These are the two frameworks that dominate at the team level. But you can scale agility across a team of like 100 to 125 people, or multiple such large teams, which in SAFe language are called as agile release trains. So agile release train, the total number of people that are part of agile release train are from 50 to 125, and multiple agile release trains also work together, which as part of the solution train. So Scrum for a small team, you continue to apply Scrum at a team level. However, bringing 10 to 12 teams together, or even bringing like 30-40 teams together as part of different agile release trains, how to do that? how to plan together, how to deliver together, and what kind of cadence that or frequency that we should follow. That is what you learn in SAFe. So SAFe helps you scale agility across multiple teams. That's the major difference between Scrum and SAFe. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Amit. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, please go
Thanks,
ahead.
Ajay. Yeah. So moving to the next one. Now, when we look at project management, we talk about scope management, time management, cost management, quality management, and all these areas, right? So how do we manage scope in SAFe with a lean agile mindset compared to what happens in a traditional or waterfall approach? In traditional approach, we have scope definition, change control, centralized annual planning, and then project charter and all of that. What do we do in SAFe? The sequence is very different in SAFe. We have the strategies at the enterprise level. These strategies influence the solutions that we are going to build in, and deliver to the end customer. So those strategies kind of help us identify the epics, which are the containers of the large solution at portfolio level, and then how to break down those epics into capabilities and features and deliver that value to the end customer with shorter time duration is what we learn in SAFe. Now, since we are following Scrum or iterative and incremental way of delivering value, we learn a lot faster. The decision making is decentralized, and using agile release sprints, we can deliver value to the end customer faster. Is managed in SAFe. Now, the interesting part is uh, you can estimate features and you can also estimate user stories in SAFe. Whereas the estimation approach that we use in traditional way of working, like waterfall way of working, is either function point estimation or something similar to that. So there is a difference between the two. That's what we see here. But the scope is managed by breaking it down into smaller pieces and delivering the value faster to the end customer. That's the major change between traditional approach and the lean agile approach. When we move to time management from traditional to lean agile mindset, what we have is like the milestones determine or phase gate approach in waterfall way of working, or when we are using PMP. Whereas how we do time management in SAFe is which requirements or which features are going to deliver value to the end customer, and how do we want to prioritize those features so that value can be delivered faster to the customer. Now, which value to be delivered to the customer gets prioritized with a specific mechanism called weighted shortage job first, and we do talk about it in the SAFe class. However, the most interesting part is when it comes to time management, we have 2 weeks of iterations, and 4 to 5 iterations together make a program increment. So customer is assured that I would be getting some value delivered at the end of every 8 to 10 weeks. Shorter the duration, better for the customer. And when we are talking about time management, there's a specific mechanism in SAFe which also helps us manage dependencies at the time of planning itself, so that our work or value delivery is not impacted or is not delayed. And that mechanism is called as program board. So that is what relates to time management in SAFe world. When we look at cost management, there are multiple bullet points that are there on this slide. But rather than going through those bullet points, what I would like to definitely share with you is that in traditional approach or in traditional way of working, the budgets are for the projects, or the budgets would be for at the program level. Whereas in SAFe, what do they talk about is the budget should be allocated to the value stream, which will work on multiple projects. Now, if there's a delay or in executing the project, what happens is, like, we try to find out the reason why there's a delay and then whom we can blame for that delay. And then if at all we have to release the resources because they are allocated to other projects, then how can we get resources, or how we can get approval to change request, who is going to give approval to this additional cost. All that happens in traditional approach. Now, since in SAFe, since the budget is allocated to the value stream, which is working on multiple projects or as part, multiple solutions as part of that value stream, even if there's a delay for a particular solution development, it can still get absorbed because we are not moving resources. We have onboarded those resources to the value stream. They are part of that value stream. So, we don't have to release resources. We don't have to allocate or move them to other solution or nothing like that. The only thing that we need to take care of is cost of delay. Whatever work that I have not developed and delivered, if I continue doing that, and if I delay the next feature, or if I delay the next epic, what impact or what would be the cost of delay for that second feature or second epic is what we need to find out. And based on that cost of delay, we will have to make right decisions. So that's the major difference between traditional approach and SAFe's Lean Agile approach when it comes to cost management. Moving to quality management, SAFe very clearly says that you cannot scale crappy code. You need to, as a Lean Agile leader, you need to exemplify built-in quality as a core value. So they, at every step, they recommend use TDD and BDD for, that is stress-driven development and behavior-driven development for your, software development. So follow TDD and BDD. So basically at every level, they are very, very focused on ensuring that quality work gets delivered to the customer, because value is defined as something which is delivered in a shortest sustainable lead time without any defects, or no defects rather, I would say. So best quality. So they don't use the word no defects or without any defect. Shortest sustainable lead time and best quality is what they say. So they keep focusing on quality at every stage. Now, traditional approach, most of us would be familiar, like how quality is inspected at the end when final product is delivered. SAFe plans for quality right from the beginning. So continuous, when we look at the continuous delivery pipeline, CDP, right from the first part of CDP, which is like continuous exploration, SAFe starts focusing on how we can build in quality into the product that we are developing. So there's a lot of focus right from the beginning on quality, and ultimately we come to risk management. We, in project management, we identify risks, we do qualitative risk analysis, we do quantitative risk analysis, we come up with mitigation plan, contingency plan for the identified risks. What do we do in SAFe is we roam risks, and that's quite an interesting acronym. ROAM stands for resolved, owned, accepted, mitigated. All the risks at program increment level, that is for the next 8 to 10 weeks, whatever risk that we can face, those risks are identified and they are either resolved, owned, accepted, or mitigated with reference to the work that the teams are planning to complete during like next 8 to 10 weeks. So that's the most important part. And this risk roaming happens in the planning itself. Outside of planning, when the team start executing the plans using the Scrum meeting or daily stand-ups or program boards to manage dependencies, I mean, these are different mechanisms to manage those risks when the teams are actually working. So that's how the risks are managed in SAFe. So what are the opportunities for project manager? Leverage your existing project management skills, and you already have these skills if you're playing the role of a project manager. Leadership, humility, effective listening, team building, motivation, communication, collaboration and knowledge sharing, influencing, managing conflict, decision making, political and cultural awareness, negotiation. All these skills are going to help you be a good servant leader. That's how we look at it. And that's why we talk about how you can leverage your existing project management skills to play that role of a SAFe agilist. And when with SAFe, I do not know right now what is the current uh, success rate of all the projects across the world, because when I started learning software, it was told to us that only 40% projects were successful. At some point of time, they told us that around 60% projects are becoming successful. With SAFe, when I started implementing SAFe, and based on the case studies that I have seen so far, what I have learned is that with the implementation of SAFe, you achieve 50% faster time to market, and 50% defect reduction, 35% increase in productivity, and 30% happier, more motivated employees. And all these results are documented, available in a form of case studies to everyone on the SAFe website. So you can always look at that. So these are the results that you get with SAFe implementation compared to the results or the success rate that we had with the projects. So that's what, or these are the details that I wanted to kind of share with you. I'm, as I said, like, give me 10 minutes to kind of walk you through the slides. So almost done with the slides. Now we can go to the questions, specific questions. So I'm reading those questions one by one.
Could you go to the risk slide, sir, once more?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Here I am.
Yep. Is actually in project management PMP, we find the change management would be done during whenever the risk found. In SAFe, in context, how we can go for it?
If you see the third bullet point, it says Scrum of Scrum, daily stand-ups and all, right? Along with Scrum of Scrum, there should be also another meeting which should be part of that bullet point, which is called as PO Sync. So in case of the name of that ceremony or meeting is PO Sync. What do we do? If at all there is any scope change identified, it's communicated to the product owners. They take it up with the product management during this PO Sync meeting. If it is valid,
sir, I sorry for disturbing you. Can you able to explain me this PO sync? Okay, in a slow manner, can you able to take it down? Sorry for disturbing.
Praveen, there is a lot of noise behind you, so I'm not able to hear you properly. I'm sorry.
The thing is, I'm asking you PO sync. Okay. The thing is scope of change. Can you able to explain me in a slower manner so that I can able to take it down?
Can you explain me this, or
you can able to explain me in a slower manner so that I can able to write it down?
Oh, we are going to share the recording with you. I can even show it to you if you want.
Sir.
Hello, Amit.
Yeah. Give me a few seconds. Let me answer his question. But coming back to the sequence or the flow, if at all there is a scope change that's happening, then what happens is like it is taken up with the product owners, and here is the sequence. So these are the agile ready strength sync meetings. So inside the circle that you see, these are the team events that we have. So
Yeah.
when the team finds out that there is going to be some change, they will take it up with product owner. Product owner will discuss it with product management, and they will communicate the decision back to the team. So that change that is going to happen may be implemented at the end of the iteration. So next iteration you can work on the new scope, or the product management may decide that, oh, okay, there is a change, but we can wait for that change to implement till the next program increment, and then with your iteration that you are in, it would be taken up in the next PI. So there are a couple of ways you can handle that change.
Thank you.
Sir, do we have any same specific change for iteration? Same time slots?
I'm really struggling to hear you out, Praveen. Could you please ask again?
Sir, there is any time slot for doing product iteration? Time slots. Within this time only we have to do it, something like this.
Yes.
Time limit.
Yeah, every 2 weeks.
Okay, sir.
Amit, this is Rohini. I just have one question. Sorry to interrupt you. In Scrum, we say that we can have a sprint of maximum, extending from 2 to 4 weeks. But here, when you say that it is of 2 weeks and retrospection has to be done every 2 weeks, so does this mean that here we have more shorter span as compared to the Scrum methodology? So the safe becomes more, give us more agility and becomes more effective than Scrum methodology. Is it something like that?
Why do you feel that if you have a longer cycle, then you would be less effective?
No,
I mean,
because
if you have
see,
a 4-week sprint, then you would be less effective compared to 2-week sprint. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean to say, when we come to the effectiveness in agility about the methodologies, since your SAFe has the sprint of only 2 weeks, and your
Mhm,
retrospection, I agree in Scrum, retrospection can be done at any point of time, but
mhm,
it is advisable that your retrospection and refinement, these two processes should be done at the end of the sprint. So we usually keep it in the last week of sprint. And let's suppose our sprint is of 4 weeks. So then
mhm.
my question is, with this refinement process and sprint in SAFe being at a shorter span, does that methodology of agility is more effective than Scrum? Because in Scrum, we could have a sprint of 4 weeks. So your refinement
Effectiveness.
and your
Yeah, I got your questions, right. So
yeah.
effectiveness, I would say, since the learning cycle is a shorter one or smaller one, instead of 4 weeks, your learning cycle is of 2 weeks. That way,
Mhm.
in that scenario, if at all there is something that you need to change, that change can be
Mhm.
implemented a lot faster, and that will bring in more, effectiveness faster. So that's how I look at it.
No.
So something which you could
Okay.
have waited for 4 weeks, you do it in 2 weeks,
Mhm.
right? So
Okay.
that way
Okay.
there is effectiveness.
Okay. And this
Shorter.
program board that you refer for SAFe is
Mhm.
nothing but your product backlog that we refer
No,
for.
no, 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 no,
No.
no. Thanks for
Okay.
asking that. So product
Yeah.
backlog is completely different and program board is completely different. Program board contains all the features,
Mm-hmm.
dependencies across those features. And if at
Mm-hmm.
all there are any events that, that we want to kind of track, which are scheduled during next 8 to 10 weeks. So which features, when we are going to complete it, if there is any critical path, between those features, how to manage that critical path, how to manage dependencies across features, which features are at a risk, how to kind of roam those risks and make sure that all features that we have planned for during that 8 to 10 weeks duration, how we can deliver it properly, everything, you know uh, the source for that would be program board. I mean, you can refer to the program board and you can manage your work for next 8 to 10 weeks. You create your program board in every program increment, that is PI planning, and then you kind of keep doing that during every PI planning. So that's something, that's a board that you refer to during those 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah,
Hi,
hello,
hi,
Amit.
Amit.
Kumarasamy here.
Yeah, Kumar, sorry.
Yeah. So is it possible to have Kanban and Scrum teams to work together
Yeah.
for PI?
Yes.
Yes, right. So how we will resolve the dependencies between the Kanban team and Scrum team?
The best way to resolve dependencies between Kanban and, I do not know how much you know of Kanban, but the best way to define, the best way to manage dependencies between Scrum and Kanban would be to use classes of service on the Kanban board.
Once classes of service.
Classes of service, yeah. So if you go to SAFE website and if you click on the team Kanban board,
Okay.
just to show it to you, do you see this on my laptop?
Yeah.
So I'm clicking on a team Kanban board here at the bottom level. And if this is the team Kanban board, okay? And this is how it looks like: team backlog, analyze, review, build, integrate, and test, accepted. And all that you have here are like stories.
Yeah.
But somewhere here, they are talking about standard, fixed, expedite. Do you see these words written?
Yeah.
So these are the classes of
Yes.
service. Don Leonardson introduced these classes of service. If you go to Kanban classes, which are run by Kanban University, if you go to Kanban classes, they would talk about minimum four different classes of service, like expedite, fixed date, standard, and intangible. Intangible is nothing but your technical debt. That's the best example of intangible work. So you use these four classes of service and map it with your sprints so that both the deliveries can happen properly at the same time. I mean, by doing that, you can resolve the dependencies.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amit, one
Yeah,
more
hi,
question.
Amit.
It's a basic question actually. In a Epic, can we create short term and long term, like 2 weeks sprint once and immediately 4 weeks sprint also?
No,
Oh, it should be fixed, right?
no, Epic has got nothing to do with sprints.
Within the Epic, that's what I
No.
was.
So Epic, see, if I go to the website again, Epic is at this level. Epic is at portfolio level. You see this Epic here?
Yeah.
Then you break it down into either capability if you're working on a large solution, or you break it into a feature if you're working at program level. And those features are broken down into stories. And these stories are completed in one iteration, that is 15 days. Now, multiple stories will make a feature, multiple features will make a capability, or multiple features will make an epic. And these features are completed in one program increment. Whatever features that you load to the PI, this is PI planning meeting. So whatever features that you load in that PI, they should be completed in that PI itself. But multiple features are going to make epic. So even if you complete certain features, partial value creation has happened, but the epic may not be complete. So you can complete an epic over a period of like even 20 weeks. Story is getting completed in 15 days, but the epic may get completed in 20 weeks. That's quite possible.
Okay. Within the Epic, the sprint period would be varying, right? Or else entire
As I
during
said, Epic is a solution container. Sprint is independent of Epic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, hi, Amit.
Yeah,
Hi, Amit. This is Nikhil here. So, Amit, in one of the slide, as you have seen that when we move on to SAFE, we say so much percentage, faster time to market, happier employees, and things like that.
Yeah.
Right. So these statistics that we are talking about are in comparison to when our projects are in waterfall model, or is it also that we have multiple Scrum team, but all the Scrum teams are working in their own cadence? They don't do that kind of dependency management as how we do in SAFE. You
As
have
per my
multiple Scrum teams, but yeah,
As per my understanding, it is more related to waterfall.
waterfall. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Amit. Just
Yeah,
one
Sheetal.
question from my side. You mentioned that in SAFe, even the epic and the features are also estimated, right? So I just wanted to know, are they also estimated by the different Scrum teams, or they are been estimated at a higher level by, say, only the leaders and the management?
They are estimated. The high level estimate is done, by product management, but eventually the stories and features are estimated by, team contributes in estimating stories and features.
So can that be considered as kind of a ROM estimation that we do in waterfall, or probably during project management?
I am not sure. I'm not understanding how you are relating it to waterfall.
My question is, if Epic is estimated to say 60 user story points, right? So this is at a higher level, right?
Epic could be
And
like 4,000 story points or 6,000 story points, like that.
yeah, yeah. And when it is actually bifurcated into stories and PBIs, the estimation can vary, right? Which is the actual estimation, correct?
Yeah, there could be.
Yeah.
Estimation is like,
Okay.
it should never be accurate.
Okay.
That's why it is
Got it.
called an estimation, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct. But Epic is at a much higher level, right? So that's why I was a little confused with.
Epic is at, again, portfolio level. It's a container of a solution, big solution. So it could be a product, or it could be a service, or it could be a system. How do we deliver it?
Okay.
By breaking it down into smaller pieces called stories,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Okay.
stories are completed in 2 weeks, but Epic could be completed in 20 weeks or even like 1 year as well, depending on the size of the Epic. And that's why I was saying that Epic has got nothing to do with the duration of the iteration, or
Okay.
rather that
Okay.
iteration or sprint is not in the Epic.
Okay. Second question is, can
Is
SAFe?
it okay by the time you ask your second question, I'm supposed to launch one poll. Can I launch that poll and then answer your second question?
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
Okay. So for those of you who are on the call, I'm launching the poll. Request you to answer those questions. There are a couple of questions in that poll, and then till the time you're answering the poll, I would take this question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Can we correlate program management with SAFe?
And you need to elaborate on program management.
So, kind of a program management is when the multiple projects are being managed under one roof, right? So, can we say that SAFe is similar to program management?
To be honest with you, when I first studied SAFe way back in 2014, 2015, there was a reference of best practices being picked up from program management and included in the SAFe framework. Then eventually they removed that reference. So this 10 weeks that we are talking about for program increment, PI planning, if you know program management from OGC or UK, which is second level of Prince 2, they talk about tranches. So the tranche is of around 2.5 months. Is the same concept that they have picked up over here, or they had picked up over here in SAFe. They removed the reference of program management, but they continue to have that tranche concept of 2.5 months, 10 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, outside of that, whether I can relate SAFe to program management, answer is yes and no, because multiple projects are part of a program. But here we are not talking about program, but we are talking about the value streams. We are bringing in lean mindset now, and all these projects or different solutions are delivered through that value stream. No definite start date, don't no definite end date to the value stream. It's a continuous, long lived team of agile teams is these are the words that we use to describe the teams. That long lived is very important, which is not there in the program management. So there are some similarities and there are some differences as well.
Thanks, Amity.
Yeah. Any other
Hello,
question?
Amit, Vikas here. Hi, this is Vikas. Uh, how to choose that we have to implement safe in a particular project, or what waterfall will be suitable. So if you have that decision making thing in, so how to do that based on what factors you have to continue with the waterfall thing, and if you want to do the agile or the safe things. Yeah.
The major distinction from my point of view is like how quickly you want to deliver value to the customer. That's the key question that I'll ask myself, and based on that I would decide which methodology to choose. If I want to deliver value faster to my customer, get a quick feedback, make the course correction, and whatever value that I'm delivering to the customer, ensuring that it's meeting their expectations all the time, compared to delivering value after 6 months or after 8-10 months, and then again getting a feedback that no, this is not what we had expected, we thought you were building this and now you have delivered this, all those kind of things. If you
So
want
we
to deliver
can
value faster, go ahead.
So we can implement all sorts of projects where we want to deliver fast. We want to deliver fast. We can use agile.
I'm using the word value rather than project. I'm using the word value.
Okay.
The value that the
Value,
customer is the value that the customer is going to derive from what you are delivering them, how quickly you want to deliver it to them.
Okay.
Why is customer paying me? Because customer needs something. Now, if I deliver it quickly to the customer, what they want, how they want it, or as per my convenience.
Okay. Okay. And one more, like, what is the role of a RT in SAFe?
The release train engineer is a chief scrum master. So all the scrum masters that are working at team level, they report to that release train engineer.
Amit, I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so in PA planning, we should go for enablers as well, or like we should.
Yes. Without enablers, you cannot continue your development. So you should plan for enablers as well. Rather, PI planning, there's a capacity allocation for enablers. So how much capacity you would be reserving for your defects, or how much capacity for enablers, and normal for development. So that's what that's what we talk about. To give you an example of that, or quickly show it to you. This is how it would look like. I'm showing it to you at team level, at iteration level, but it can be applied to they removed the picture from here, and they removed the picture, but let's see if we can find it over here. Otherwise I will have to look for somewhere else. Yep, no, I will have to look for somewhere else, but definitely we have a capacity allocation that takes care of it. Enablers.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, with Rajiv.
Rajiv.
As we are having Scrum events or artifacts there, what are the equivalent things are there in here? I mean, in SAFe.
Say that again.
As we are having the Scrum events and the Scrum artifacts are there, right? The product backlog, this backlog are there, right? What different artifacts are Scrum? I mean, these events are there in SAFe.
I showed you, right? Replace the word iteration with sprint. So you have sprint planning, sprint retro, backlog refinement, sprint review, and daily stand-up. These are at team level. At PI level, you have PI planning, inspect and adopt. So iteration retro is superseded by inspect and adopt. Then prepare for PI planning. So your sprint planning, here we have PI planning. Then sync meetings, the Scrum of Scrum, and PO sync meetings. These two are called art sync meetings. Then iteration review, here we have system demo. At solution level, we have solution demo. So this one picture will give you an idea about all the ceremonies at 3 different levels. Innermost circle is team level. Second circle is at agile release train level, art level, and the outermost circle is at solution level. So these are the ceremonies. So team event, program event, and solution train event.
And what about artifacts?
They are defined at each level then accordingly. Is there any other question?
Sir, hello, Amit.
Yeah.
Hello. Amit,
Yeah, go ahead.
just a brief example, Amit. The thing is, I've been working in a waterfall project. Okay. So, the company is not been interested in Agile.
I'm listening.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay. Companies will not been interested in Agile project. Okay. I'm Agile methodology. I'm trying to implement it. They have not been interested. Why? Because they have some constraint and they have some payment problems or time of delivery. Okay. Right now, if I'm going to implement the SAFe, what the best possibility can able to deliver to the customer plus one for the consumer or the stakeholder, anyone. Okay. And for the company and the stakeholder. Company has been developing it. Stakeholder is going to deliver to the market.
Okay.
So what would be the best thing which I can able to deliver them now? See, I mean done the Scrum Master. I've been having a certification or I've been having some whatever say I know about SAFe and everything. I know Agile methodology, but they've been interested in only delivering the projects. At that point of time, how can we able to help it out them? So where can the organization can able to get benefited, and also the stakeholder, and also the customer.
The simplest thing that you can do is prioritize those projects according to the value that they're going to deliver to the customer. Figure out if there are some interdependencies between those projects, and based on the efforts, you can always prioritize the projects that you want to work on first. Start delivering value as quickly as possible. That's how I would look at it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amit, Preeti Singh here.
Yeah, Preeti.
So my question is, is there any defined metrics or reports for SAFe?
Huge. Here is the list of all the metrics. I'm on the big picture of SAFe. Do you see the mouse pointer moving? Preeti?
Yes, yeah.
Here there's a reference to matrix, and if I click on that, you have metrics at enterprise level, portfolio level, large solution level, and essential SAFe level. And then the radar chart and lean portfolio metrics, and then assessments, all of it. Then at program or solution level, we have solution trend predictability measure, then solution trend performance metrics, then we have essential metrics at feature progress report, program predictability measure, and then program performance metrics, CFD, and the bar charts and all of that. I mean, you will see multiple metrics defined on this page, including the SAFe DevOps Health Radar.
Okay.
And these are iteration level metrics. So at the team level. So huge, I mean, yeah, there is a collection of metrics.
So this is hi Amit, this is Parag.
Yeah, Parag.
So it's just a continuation of what we were actually right now discussing about the metrics and the associated reports and the documentation, huge documentation. So is there can we tailor or is there some framework where you can tailor and identify that these are the only possible 15 reports, or
You can.
how we tailor our process? And so
You can.
obviously all these are not mandatory, so we can tailor. That's
You
your
can.
response. Okay,
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Amit, the ART should be a programmer, should have programming knowledge.
ART is nothing but team of agile teams. So ART, Agile Release Train, ART stands for Agile Release Train, and it is nothing but team of agile teams. That means 10 to 12 agile teams together would be called as Agile Release Train. So programming knowledge has got nothing to do with formation of Agile Release Train.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. That was your question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Naveen, how are we doing on time?
Yes, sir. Like, no, we've just completed the 1 hour time frame.
Okay.
And like, yeah, we can take up few more questions if participants are having. Or
Amit, one more question. Actually, in PMP, there are agile chapters also included in the latest version.
Current version, yes.
Could it be not same, but can PMBOK also, sorry, PMP, PMBOK also considered for agile? Just for clarification, I am asking.
Very honestly with you, I haven't yet got a chance to look at the current version of the PMBOK.
Okay.
With the new agile introduction of these new agile chapters, I'm aware that they have introduced it because PMI acquired Disciplined Agile sometime back. They acquired even another agile organization, other methodology, and they have tried to include that in the PMBOK. They are trying to go the agile way, and couple of my friends have already given exam based on the current version or latest version of PMBOK, but I haven't got a chance to kind of discuss it with them, so may not be able to tell you honestly right now about it.
Okay, Amit. Thank you.
Yeah. But I'll definitely find out, and we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Amit, you send that recording, right?
Correct. Yes, you are going to send recording, right?
yes, sir. We will be sharing you the recording.
Oh, okay. That's good. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Amit. Can I drop out?
Yeah, sure.
Will the recording be shared in WhatsApp or through how to know?
Your email address.
Thank you.
Yeah, Amit, thank you so much for your time. Might be we'll be looking into in one of your session also.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Hey,
So
Amit,
Naveen,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Amit.
Amit.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah. Naveen, should we close here?
Thank you,
Absolutely, sir.
Amit.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.